What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel. You're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk everything EDC gear here. That's right. Today we're taking a look at this Benchmade knife here. First time checking out a Benchmade knife in the channel. This one's been a great experience. Although, I mean, it's not the largest knife that Benchmade makes. This one is very mighty, right? Small and mighty little knife right here. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk everything about the full immunity, right, from Benchmade, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything else in between. It's been a pretty awesome experience so far, so I'm super grateful for that. Of course, this knife and every other knife that you see in the video will be linked down below. So if you want to learn more about all the knives, or if you're interested in purchasing one, it does help the channel if and when you purchase a knife through those links, but that is entirely up to you and at no extra cost whatsoever. With that in mind, let's get into it, right? So we're dealing with a small factor EDC knife. Overall length on this guy here is coming right at 6 inches. The blade itself is not going to be a super long blade. We're looking at 2.5 on the total blade and a little over 2.25 for the cutting edge, right? The handle itself is going to be 3.5 inches. So this knife is made on the good US of A, made in the United States, which is nice, right? It gives you that patriotic feeling of a US made knife. Of course, Benchmade, they make all kinds of great knives as well. They were the ones that patented the axis lock, right? So for the longest time, they held the pattern on the axis lock and just recently expired so that other knives can use the same mechanism, but they just simply can call it the axis lock. They call it the crossbar lock or the Dura lock or the clutch lock, or you name it, right? They have to name it something different other than the axis lock, but it was Benchmade that brought that to everybody originally, which is super cool, super nice. Very similar to, let's say, Spyderco with their compression lock or what have you, right? Very, very interesting stuff. Love when companies compete and they come up with awesome new engineering improvements or what have you that really make a difference later on for everybody else. Just awesome. The community, right? You, the end consumer, you and I, we both benefit from it. So let's talk this knife here. Let's do some quick size comparisons. Of course, this guy is going to be a bit on the smaller side of things. So if I compare it to, you know, a bigger knife, just want you guys to see proportion wise how much smaller this thing is, right? There's your PM2 and Pair 3, definitely a lot shorter. You'll probably notice for once I'm actually using it with the lanyard, and I explain a lot, you know, more about that later in the video. You know, if you know anything about me throughout all the videos that I've uploaded here so far, you know I'm not a lanyard person, but there are times where you might need to, you know, rock a lanyard, and this guy is one of those times. Demko AD 20.5 on top, the Shark Cub at the bottom, still, you know, on the smaller category of things. Rut 1 there and Rut 2. Right, yeah, so still in the small size, right? Let's just do the Raccoon and the Pyrite really quick. All right, these are just very popular common knives that you probably own already. So if you own any of these that you've seen so far, clearly that gives you a ballpark idea where this guy lands. The full immunity from Benchmade. Check it out right here next to the Divo NIP, right? It's just a tad bit longer than the NIP. And then these are some new offerings from Kizer. This is the Kizer Cryptid, right? Kizer Cryptid, very similar blade in a way. It's just maybe an inch bigger, right? Check that out. But that is going to be it for size comparisons. Carry profile, thickness against the Pair 3, right? Very comparable. Again, close to that 1/2 inch thickness. Here it is next to the Demko AD 20.5, which is a little bit slimmer. Check that out. And something like the Rot Model 1. Okay. Length and height in the pocket, obviously it's going to be pretty short, and it's also going to tuck away pretty nicely, right? The blade doesn't stick nearly as much out as something like a Spyderco knife or even a Demko knife. Here is the Rot Model 2, right? Pretty comparable, but obviously a little bit longer. And last but not least, the Divo NIP right there, right? All right, let's get into the knife itself. So what materials are we working with here? So let's go to the blade first. Okay, so blade, we have a Warncliffe flat grind blade. This thing is super, super thin, right? Let's get a blade stock thickness on this thing coming in at is that really 0.9? Let's get a grip right here. Yeah, 0.09, not even 0.10, 0.09 thickness on the blade. So this thing is super, super slicey. You'll probably hear me say that throughout the video here and there a couple of times. The handle, just to get that taken care of, is about 0.49, which gives you a significant amount of thickness, typically around 1/2 inch or 0.5 is where I see most knives are typically aiming to be. And so back to the blade, it is coated here in black. Got the big Benchmade logo right there with the butterfly. And then it is M4 steel, right? M4 steel is got pretty good edge retention, very similar to M390, but it's actually tougher. Right? It does take a tad bit longer when resharpening, right? But it is definitely a tough steel that is going to hold an edge for quite some time. It's not fully corrosion resistant. So with this one, the fact that it's coated, that is a plus. Okay. And also, you know, you just want to make sure you take care of the knife. You don't want to leave it wet somewhere at the beach or something, right? Well, as long as you do that, then you should be pretty okay. Benchmade.com/patent for patent. I'm not sure why they printed the website on the blade, but I guess that is what they did there, right? A little bit of billboarding, if anything, because honestly, I don't think that was necessary. For the handle, what we have going on, we have anodized aluminum going on here with this beautiful diamond pattern, right? It's not super aggressive, but it does give you something to hold on to, just nice. The scales are nice and chamfer or rounded all throughout the edges, which is good. This is a 3-finger knife, okay? Now, there's no going around it. There's no forward choke option. Index finger, pretty much you have a cutout for where your fingers go, right? There's no way around it. Index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and then your pinky is somewhere out here in, you know, no man's land. So this is where the lanyard really comes handy. This one is included. It does come with the lanyard itself. This bit of lanyard bead itself, which is stainless steel, right? It is magnetized. But yeah, it gives you a little something extra to grip onto because the handle does leave a bit to be desired. Now, the idea here, before we go deeper into it, it was intentional that this knife was made as small as it is. It is a 2.5-inch blade, one cliff. In my understanding, this was made for areas where, you know, it is illegal to have a longer blade. People can only carry a certain size or length of blade, and this one caters to those areas, those places where there are more strict knife laws. Of course, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, I always encourage all my viewers to check your local laws, fully understand your knife laws where you live and stuff like that before purchasing a knife or getting into the hobby. But yeah, that was the intention of this knife. I love the blade so much. If this knife was maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches longer, maybe 2 inches would be too much, but 1.5 inches or something longer, I mean, this would be a great knife. If it could only accommodate my pinky, right, get a full 4-finger grip on this thing, that is more my style. But again, it is a small and mighty EDC, and I can see what they were going for here, right? I think I was joking around as I was doing the research for this knife, gathering my thoughts and stuff like that. Instead of calling it the full immunity, they should have called it the small immunity. Right? All jokes aside, yes, you know, full immunity kind of gives you the idea of a full knife. But no, it's a small guy, right? So maybe a small immunity would have been a more appropriate name. But again, I'm kidding, joking, right? Got to have a little bit of humor here and there. That's what makes life fun. This guy is on washers, all right? That's something to keep in mind. And, you know, a lot of premium knives are on washers, right? I know that a lot of us love our ball bearings and things like that. But, you know, there's so many Spydercos that I own that have washers. The idea with washers is that they help keep the debris out, right? Helps keep the pivot, the whole, you know, interactive mechanism there as clean as possible and things like that. And, you know, more than with ball bearings. And at first, I'm sure, you know, it probably took a little while to break in, but check out the drop action. Now that this one has seen some use from, you know, other YouTubers, myself included, right? The drop action is pretty good. All right, it drops shot really quick or very smoothly. The only thing that's kind of awkward, and you can see it in action right here. So I'm trying to open and close it and trying to get a good grip at the same time. It's a bit of a challenge, and I don't have the biggest hands in the world. I have average hands, or not the biggest, not the smallest. So if you have extra large bear paws, I don't know, this might not be the knife for you. This guy is pretty lightweight, you know, aluminum and all, right? Very, very easy to carry, very lightweight. Makes a good secondary knife any day of the week. And so without further ado, let's just see where it comes in. Right at 2.5 ounces, right at 2.5 ounces. So for reference, that Divo nib, which is full titanium, was 2.8. And the Cryptid was 2.8. So that's really not bad at all. And that's counting the bead and the, you know, lanyard and everything. 2.5 ounces right there. So obviously if you take off the lanyard with the little bead in the back, it's gonna weigh even less. But yeah, good weight to it. Let's go ahead and do a quick hardware check on this bad boy really quick. Of course, my tools are highly recommended and linked down below in the description if you want to check them out. Let's see, I'm seeing some, what is this, T8 or T10? I'll say the pivot, go ahead and impress me here. T10 on the pivot, which is the right call. All right, very good. It is a captive pivot, so only on one side do you have the hex pattern, which is perfect. Okay, good, good. Now, it is T6 everywhere else. Now, an argument could be made here that it is a small knife, so maybe they, ooh, this guy's loose. Gotta tighten this guy up a bit, okay? That stop pin screw there was a little bit on the loosey-goosey side. There we go. So let's check. Okay, T6 all around, you know, including the pocket clip right there. And there's even, you know, some for the thumb studs also, right? So T6 everywhere else. So you guys know by now, right, my thoughts on T6, right? It's not a deal breaker here. It is a smaller knife, but you know, when you're paying premium price, which you certainly are with this knife here, we'll talk about prices in just a bit, you know, T8 would have been more appreciated. It reduces the risk of a, you know, you stripping any screws or anything like that. You know, as you disassemble the knife. Of course, check with Benchmade, you know, before disassembling your knife. I'm not entirely sure what their policy is on warranties and stuff like that, or voiding your warranty if you do take your knife apart and stuff like that. So we have proud liners, which are milled, right, and that helps with the weight as well. And the pocket clip is pretty deep carry. This is what I understand to be Benchmade's standard pocket clip that they put on the Shootout and many other models as well. It is reversible, right, for lefties, and it makes sense because it's a very ambidextrous knife. Here I am using it with my very untrained left hand, and as you can see, that's about all that I can do. But you can reverse it, tip up carry only, right? Got a little lanyard hole right here for clearly a lanyard, like I'm using it right there. 2 standoffs, right, with body screws, right? Blade is nice and aligned, all right, which is pretty neat. All right, and this guy came into me a little bit dull. So I remember, because I would admit to this, I'm not a very savvy sharpener guru like Neves knives or transparent knives or anything like that at their level. But anyway, obviously, you know, I've been in my EDC journey for about 1.5 years now, so I'm slowly and every day learning more and more. At some point, I want to get more and more into sharpening and learn techniques and ways to be able to get better at sharpening. But I remember I had a Lanksy quick sharpening tool, right? They call it the Blademedic. And with this one, all I had to do was use the carbide, right? Just about 3 to 4 strokes, and the ceramic rods about 3 to 4 strokes. And really, that's honestly all it took. It took it from a kind of dull blade. If you check the unboxing video, you will see that I was struggling with it quite a bit, and it actually brought it up to life pretty significantly, right? I could have done it more, but it's not my knife, so about 4 strokes, very lightly on the carbide, and then on the ceramic, did the trick. And here's what this guy looks like right now, right? Look at this, right? You definitely have to check out the unboxing to see the difference, because yeah, this thing was not cutting at all whatsoever. And now it is cutting that paper as if, you know, as if it came out of the box, right? And even though M4 is a little bit tricky to sharpen from what I understand, you know, that feels pretty sharp to me right there. It definitely gets the job done. So pretty quick to bring that blade back to life. Again, I'm not a sharpening guru, but I'm just sharing with you from personal experience what worked. So it can clearly do paper, right? What about some cardboard? I got a single wall, everyday diaper box cardboard here. Let's see how it does. Keep in mind when cutting cardboard, don't cut perpendicular like this, but at an angle, all right? And it will look something like this. Now, I think even with the cardboard, there's no way, right there I sunk the corner. That's something that can happen, so you just want to be mindful of that. There's no way that this knife would have cut this good the way I got it with how dull the blade was. And I'm telling you, that 4 strokes on carbide and the ceramic rods did the trick. This thing is cutting really good. You guys rate it in the comments. Let me know on a scale from 1 through 10 how sharp is this guy. But yeah, that is the beauty of also this flat grind, right? Very thin blade overall. We saw that it was 0.09. Also, I found that if you do like a 3-finger grip like this, but then you sort of rest your thumb and index like this, right, to get your cuts done, that's definitely the way to go, right? Check this out. This grip right here was my go-to. Very functional. I mean, this is a very, I guess you can call it a very high-end, very sophisticated racer utility blade, right? If you really think about it. And it definitely has that functionality, and it can definitely fulfill that purpose, no doubt. So ergonomically speaking, again, my brain tells me that I really wish this was a 4-finger knife. You know, even if the blade to handle ratio would have been weird. I don't know, if they made a longer handle, still this short of a blade, that would have looked funky, right? I think we can all agree. But honestly, I mean, I get why they made it this small. Again, for places where knife laws are more strict. But me personally, my brain just wants that pinky to have some real estate also, right? And honestly, the only thing, so if I really nitpick, right, aside from the T6 screws, the only other thing I would have loved from this knife, and that's what I've been seeing from a lot of other YouTubers that have done review videos on this knife, is, you know, if it was just a tad bit bigger, that would have been great, right? Like the size of the tagged out, right, or the shootout, both of those are pretty good sizes. I would love this one cliff blade as thin as it is on maybe just, I don't know, could be maybe a 3-inch blade and a little bigger handle. Boom, that thing is perfect. I would love that. Again, the milled aluminum is really, really nice. I love that, right? Sort of reminds me of the diamond pattern. Let's say like my titanium 80-20.5 or my Kunwu Chad, right? Check out videos on both of these knives here in the channel to learn more. But yeah, very, very awesome that they did that. They could have left it plain and boring, right? They could have just not even bothered. Maybe they would have done something more simplistic or what have you. But the fact that they put something on there really gives it a nice touch of quality. I believe these are available in like yellow and orange, like really poppy colors, which is nice. The green on this one looks really good. I believe even a blue one is available, a bronze one as well. So quite a lot of different color options available on these, to be honest. So yeah, for utility cuts, draw cuts, I mean, this thing is, you know, very, very useful, right? Very, very a powerhouse in that sense, right? Utility cuts, draw cuts, pinch grip all day, every day. You gotta scratch a label off of something, right? You gotta cut tape from the side of an Amazon box, get into the box, whatever it is you need to do, right? In this sense, right, you can, right, get a full grip, even if something like this. Check out this grip right here, right? I got my thumb and middle finger right here gripping the blade. The index gives me sort of control to guide the blade, and then ring finger and pinky are on the handle. Bam, that's a great cut right there. Oof, we can get some work done with this thing. Really, again, you could get a razor blade from Lowe's or Home Depot for $10-15, or you can get something more premium, something more high end. And I feel like you know exactly what's going to happen there with, you know, having a more affordable tool or perhaps something more premium. It's the satisfaction that it gives you when you have a more premium tool to work with. So now, from my understanding, Benchmade does heat treat their steels pretty good. This one is about 62 to 64 HRC, and the lanyard itself is included with the knife, in case I hadn't already mentioned that. But yeah, other than that, the price on this knife is around $270 to $292. Okay, from what I understand, there's even an automatic version of this knife, I believe. Of course, this one is the one with the axis lock, aka crossbar lock, right here. This knife is made in the USA, of course, if you truly care about that. I know some people do. You're supporting a USA company, which is nice. And it is quite a bit of a hefty price. You know, there's some other options out there to consider for that price. You can consider some other USA made knives, or even some foreign made knives, like Taiwan made knives, or even some good options from Chinese made knives. I'll just bring out a few, right? That Kunwu Chad right here. Look at all this handle real estate that you have. Much longer blade. So obviously, as long as you live somewhere where you can actually carry a blade this long, then, you know, check that out. This one's around $260. So very similar, very comparable in the price. And you're getting titanium, right? This one is PM60 steel, which is super hard. Also holds an edge for a long, long time. You know, it's just things to consider, right? Or again, you know, you want to support a USA company like Benchmade, and you'd have a restrictive law, or maybe you're into small knives, right? My wife, I try to convince her to like longer, bigger knives, and she loves her small knives, right? For the longest time, she's been trying to snatch the Divo NIP from me. And that's another alternative too to consider, right? This one comes in around $275, right? You're looking at S90V on the blade, hollow ground, premium handles, a little bit of a shorter edge. But again, you know, you got options, right? But, you know, if you love Benchmade, you like what they stand for, you want to support a USA made company, I say go for it, right? If you can get behind the 3-finger grip with the pinky hanging out, hanging to the lanyard here. I mean, I love the performance of this blade. Nice and thin, flat grind, slicey. You know, so it is a recommendable knife, or as long as you're okay with the materials that you're getting for the price. But other than that, let me know what else is there that I didn't mention in this video, guys. Anything else you want to know about this knife that perhaps I didn't cover? Let's hang out in the comments, right? Let me know what else you want to know about this knife. I'll be happy to address or answer as many questions as I possibly can. But there you have it, guys. That is the Benchmade full immunity, aka small immunity. Just kidding. Just can't get over that. Don't mind me with my dad jokes. But yeah, check this guy out. It will be linked down below in the description. It does help out the channel when you use those links if you end up purchasing a knife through those links. But that is entirely up to you, and obviously at no extra cost. It won't cost you anything extra or anything like that. Every knife that you saw in this video is also linked down there. If you like knife content like this, guys, go ahead and smash that like button and make sure that you're subscribed, right? If you're checking out the channel for the first time and you enjoy knife content, I promise you'll be worth coming back for more. I make this type of content all the time, and I promise you will not be disappointed. If you want to support the channel a step further, there is a link for Patreon down below where you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month, or you can simply support the channel right here on YouTube by becoming a member. You'll have access to exclusive perks. That's been it, guys. Thank you so much for all your time checking out this knife. By the way, chances are the review on the Kunwu Chad is available by the time you're done watching this video. So if you want to go ahead and check that video next, I'll leave a video card for you guys to see it right here. Thank you guys for all your time, all your love and support. It really doesn't go unnoticed. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a fantabulous rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.